I'm Gabe Lullo, and welcome to the Do Hard Things podcast. We're talking to go-to-market leaders and entrepreneurs who have conquered the challenges, the hustle, and the grind. Get ready for real talk, real insights, and no fluff.
But the hardest thing in the world right now is not actually closing deals, it's actually getting somebody's attention.
If you don't have that hook in that first 5 to 10 seconds, guess what? They're going to scroll to the next one.
You need to go in and you need to make it sound like yourself. That's the biggest piece of the puzzle. And I promise you, we can all tell.
The people that are trolls and the people that are haters never done the thing that you're doing.
I love doing this podcast because I get a front row seat to some of the greatest minds in sales.
Gone are the days of saying stay in your lane. When you're an executive leader and you're an enterprise-wide leader, there are no lanes. You've got to be partners.
Curiosity is like when the type of questions you ask is sometimes the value that you bring.
I need you to tell me when you're ready to buy or what you're ready to do. And I think it's changed so much into like adding more value. And if you're not doing that, then you're definitely going to come off as desperate.
High pressure selling is like a dinosaur tactic at this point.
No parent is like, oh, you should be a salesperson when you grow up, right? Everyone's like a doctor, lawyer, whatever crap. It's never salespeople.
It's not your job to motivate people. It's your job to find motivated people.
It's not cockiness. It's not arrogance. It's confidence knowing I know this and I know that I can help you.
From where I started to where I am today is all because I learned how to sell.
And there's too many people who have only been doing this for 5 freaking minutes. Sit down, close your mouth, actually go out there and get yourself beat up. Then come back and tell me if something is dead or not.
That is exactly why I started this podcast, because right there, that's the epitome of doing hard things.
Welcome back to the Do Hard Things podcast with Lexi and Gabe. Today's guest, Kade, is a rising star in the world of sales, 18 years old and already making serious waves as an SDR. He's part of a new generation redefining what's possible in sales, bringing fresh energy, digital fluency, and a growth mindset to an industry undergoing rapid transformation. He's already being recognized as a voice to watch in B2B sales, and he's only just getting started. Kade, welcome to the show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Do Hard Things podcast with your hosts, Gabe and Lexi. We're so excited that we have Kade on the show. Kade, first off, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Pretty good. Honored to be here. I've seen you guys have some heavy hitters on here, so glad to be a part of that list.
Absolutely. And, we just heard your bio, super impressed. I mean, you're just 18 years old. And the whole point why we asked you to hop on the show, and thank you for your time, is, we've had some pretty big influencers, some massive people, but everyone that we have had on who had tremendous success in their careers started somewhere. And we saw and noticed you are 18 and you're an SDR pitching executives all day. And that really got our attention because every time I asked all of these huge influencers, these VPs of sales, these owners of massive companies, I always ask them their origin story. And the origin story, starts usually after college or in their 20s. But you're starting even earlier than that. And I wanted to bring someone on that actually is in the origin timeline, if you will, of their career. But I still want to hear your origin story because it's unique, right? Take us through it, man. You're already 18 and you're already making major moves as an SDR and you're creating content about it, which I respect a lot. So walk us through it. What drew you into sales and what's been your journey so far to get to this point?
Yeah. So number one, I was homeschooled my whole life. So if you know homeschoolers, we have a lot of free time outside of school. So then I started working when I was like 15, working at a restaurant. And they couldn't promote me because I was too young. So I was like, well, I'll just go work in landscaping then. I'll do my own thing. So I worked in landscaping for like 2 years from like 15 to 17. And I really liked to sell to people, but I didn't necessarily like working outside all day. It wasn't bad, but I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I was like, well, if I could just be in sales all day, that would be pretty sweet. So then I went to YouTube. And I came across this guy named Troy Barter, and he had this sales course, and he was like, get on LinkedIn, start posting. So I took his sales course, started to post on LinkedIn, and I scrolled through Brian Lamanna's posts of like all the likes on his posts, and I would just connect with everybody there. So I knew I wanted to be an SDR for a while, And then I had like 2,000 connections by the time I finally graduated high school. And then I just made one post saying like, okay, I'm looking for a role. And like all those connections backed me up. And then I got a message from my soon to be manager offering me an interview. And yeah, here I am. I've been here for about 1 month and 20 days.
Wow, that's great. And a lot of people spend years before they get into sales, really hit their stride. What's the early grind like for you? Are there any moments or have there been any moments yet that you really like that are shaping your approach so far?
Yeah, we're still a startup, so things are super, super fast moving, which I like. I mean, that's sales. Nothing like really super surprising because I knew I wanted to be in this role for a while, and I know it's pretty self-sourcing and stuff like that. So, no, it's been a lot of fun. I really like it.
I absolutely love this. So it's interesting that my story sounds similar to yours. I worked in the restaurant business. I used to do landscaping and working outside and building things. If you can believe it, most people don't believe that because I don't like lifting heavy things anymore. And I'm pretty adamant about it. But I will say, those two things I always talk about in the show are hard, right? Physical manual labor is by definition hard, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, like talking, connecting with people on LinkedIn, pitching, sitting on a camera, is that really difficult? And my answer is yes. That's why we have the show, Do Hard Things. But at the end of the day, like, what's your position on this? Because it wasn't very long ago that you were doing those things, right? It's not like, oh yeah, 20 years ago I used to be a bartender. 20 years ago I used to like plant trees. Like this was like 2 years ago, right? So walk me through this, and what do you think sales is hard, and is it similar in hardness, if you will, than those roles?
Yeah, they're both hard. I mean, just in their own separate ways. Landscaping is definitely just more physically taxing, and then sales is more mentally. I'm not moving around, jumping around at my computer desk, getting tired, but I'm talking a lot all day and doing a lot of not manual stuff, but just a lot of like clicking and typing but no, it's kind of like apples and oranges. I mean, they're both hard. You can't really compare the two. But I see a lot of people doing it, which
Yes.
is I don't really like that.
So tell me about your outreach now then, right? Because are you just winging it? Are you're in founder mode right now, which is awesome, but are you following scripts? Obviously, you're following content. You're learning from experts. You already dropped some great names, which is amazing to see that you're super curious. But is this experimental? Is this something that you have a playbook in place? How are you approaching your prospecting?
It's a little bit of both. I do a lot with LinkedIn. I get a lot of my meetings from there. We have stuff in place, but obviously I'm going to tweak it a little bit to my liking. We have like email templates and call scripts, and I tweak it to my liking, like I said, and then I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's been really good for me.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn's a great place for outreach. Are you doing mainly like text outreach, or are you doing any videos or voice memos?
I have been experimenting with video because I think people will watch that more. I sent a couple out last week. I need to do more this week. I do voice messages, DMs. I have gotten some inbound stuff from people just seeing my posts, so I count posting as I count that
Yeah,
as outreach.
totally. I do too. What does your day actually look like? How do you structure your time, volume, and stay sharp with all the outreach and different verticals that you're going through?
I like to do prospecting in the morning. Some of my colleagues do calls at like 9 a.m., but that's not me yet. I'm not really in the mood at that time. I like to do my calls later in the afternoon. So I have like prospecting in the morning, and then I do emails around noon, and then I'll do calling from like 3 to 5. And throughout that, I'm doing stuff on LinkedIn all day.
Absolutely. So I've had people we've hired, brand new SDRs, young, ready to get going, and literally I hire them on a Monday, and by Tuesday they're not showing back up to work. Right? The rejection. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but it's happened before. And it's the rejection of constantly getting punched in the face, verbally. And so, how did you feel like you prepared for that? Maybe when there was something that maybe it was your homeschooling, maybe it was just, how you were brought up, or maybe just your attitude. But what do you think about rejection? And moreover, how do you keep that strong mindset when you're hitting those tough, cold streaks, right? You're not getting all the meetings you wanted that week. how do you come back next week ready to go?
It is hard, but I know it's not personal, so you just keep moving to the next one. If you can find some way to get motivated when people say no, like that would be really helpful if you can do that. But I just know it's not personal, so you just keep going. Everybody's different. Some people are gonna hate your script, some people are gonna love it. You just have to keep going.
Yeah,
Love it.
totally. And there's a lot of pressure stepping into the professional world so young. Have you had moments where you felt like imposter syndrome, and how do you deal with that?
Not really. I think it would feel like that if I moved and this was in person, but I'm kind of just like up in my upstairs room on my computer, so not really. Not really.
So take me about mentorship because, do you have a mentor? Do you have a group of mentors? Do you have a community that you're plugged into at all? Obviously, you've been through some training, you're watching YouTube videos on your own, but is there anything or any content or any people that's really helped you and level you up pretty quickly?
Definitely about last year in July, this guy reached out to me named Trey, and like he saw what I was doing, and he offered me like 2 SDR internships when he was doing some freelance work. So that was really helpful, and he helped me for like a whole year from like last year until July and getting a job, like everything about SDR land. So he was super helpful. And now that I'm here, I don't really have a specific mentor outside of Common Room. I kind of just use my colleagues and my manager. I mean, I'll message them on Slack and they respond in a heartbeat.
It's interesting, right? Because most people are afraid, right, of reaching out to successful people, or maybe, oh, they're too successful, they're too busy or whatever. But it's interesting, if you do it, they're so willing to give back and to help because they were at your, time in their life at one point and they like giving back. I mean, salespeople like helping other people because that's literally the definition of sales, right? So do you find that to be the case as well or no?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every salesperson I've met is super nice. Obviously, there's going to be a few rude ones, but personally, I haven't met like anybody that's rude on LinkedIn. Like every time I reach out to somebody, they're always super helpful. Like every salesperson wants to help. Like everybody I've reached out to is giving me advice. Like they've responded to me. I mean, not everyone has responded to me, but if they look at it, they will respond to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think LinkedIn's such a great place. And I'd love to shift this more towards content creation and sharing your journey. There's a lot of young people watching you now. What message are you really trying to send them through your content?
Uh, you can just post your story. You don't need to post something groundbreaking every time. Like I'm 18. I'm not going to make a post of like all of my experience and just wow the crowd. I'm just going to post my story and people are going to like that because they can see themselves in me, I hope, and relate to me.
So what made you start this? Because people your age are usually on Instagram or no offense. Right? It's like, that's their social media medium of choice. And usually it's for consumption. LinkedIn is definitely, becoming the next great place of social media. It's growing, extensively at this point. But years and years ago, it was just essentially a virtual resume. Now it is a real marketplace, and someone with your limited experience jumping in, everything you've said has really started. I mean, you were connecting with people on LinkedIn in high school, you said, so walk us through that. Like what got you onto this LinkedIn space versus spending time on other social media platforms that don't make money?
Well, you could make money off other social media, but it takes a little more work.
True.
I guess I kind of got lucky. I like stumbled across that guy's YouTube and he said to get on LinkedIn. And I knew I wasn't going to get a job by saying like, oh, I have all this experience. I just had to get some interviews by actually knowing people and connecting with people. So that was why I initially got on and started connecting with people. And I got a job from it. So obviously I'm gonna keep posting. And now I'm booking meetings from it. And if I can give myself a good reputation, like, and my company that I work for, like that's important. And also our company has like a really big social presence. A lot of people in our company have like 10,000 followers, 30,000 followers, 70,000 followers. So I got to keep up with them, and we sell to salespeople. So every salesperson is going to be on LinkedIn. So again, if I can give myself a good name for when I'm doing outreach later and they can see me, like that's important.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you this then, because a lot of people, let's just say corporate, right? You talked about your company very bullish on LinkedIn. Now, there's a lot of people in our audience that are CMOs and heads of marketing and CEOs of companies, and sometimes their approach is to be very controlling or very limiting to their employees posting on LinkedIn. You see where I'm going with this, right? They want to like, oh, everything has to be structured, or don't post on LinkedIn. That's marketing's department and that's their job. What's your approach to that, right? And how do you feel, and how could we encourage, VPs of marketing, CMOs right now to allow for, um, you know, individual control, like yourself as an individual contributor in content creation versus having marketing being the one dictating everything that's going out? What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, my company's been super supportive. Like my manager's like, dude, this is awesome. Like keep posting, just be yourself. Like they're not forcing anything on me, which is super nice. And like all of my colleagues are supportive as well. My other SDRs, like they're not being rude about it or anything. Like, dude, keep this up. So having a supportive cast around you, I have seen a lot of horror stories about managers like, stop posting, you need to post this, or like something like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's important now with the age of AI coming upon us, and everything is going to be more fake coming up. So if you can have like real people like me posting random stuff that, or just posting stuff that doesn't sound robotic, I hope, so people can know you're human.
Yeah,
So important.
totally agree. And when you're posting, are there specific like videos, pictures? What types of posts are you seeing doing the best right now on LinkedIn for your platform?
I try to do a little bit of everything. I try to be funny. I just try to add some humor. I'd like to think I'm a good copywriter, so I think that's why people like my posts. I see working best just being vulnerable, not having a big ego. And I haven't been posting for too long, so that's kind of what I've been seeing working.
Yeah. And how often are you posting?
I
Do you have,
try to
like,
do
a set
once.
schedule, or is it kind of once things come up?
Not really a set schedule. As soon as something comes to mind, I'll just write it in my notes app and I'll post at the end of the day. Usually, since I'm new and this is my first time in sales, I'll learn something like every day, so it's easy to post about that. Once I guess once I'm like a year, I'll probably have to switch my strategy because, I'm not going to be learning something revolutionary every day. But right now, I just post at the end of the day, write down my ideas throughout the day, and there's not really a structure. I just try to post every day, except on the weekends.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking, I'll give you a tip. We were talking to Scott Leese, who's got 200,000 followers, and he's a huge advocate. He's on the show. And he actually mentioned that to post on the weekends. We asked him, hey, man, is it worth posting on the weekends? I saw you were doing it. And he said, yeah, that's because no one else is, right? And I'm like, oh, that's a good way of looking at it, right? So maybe some advice. But I do agree that you have to be authentic and you have to be human. And this, again, in the age of AI, to your point, being real and being human and being authentic is the name of the game right now. I also love the fact that you brought up humor. I always say that comedians are the best salespeople in the world, because really, if you think about it, it's just them, right, selling themselves. They're individual contributors, right? It's not a group, it's not a band. It's just them talking, and they have to make money doing that. And I think watching comedians is a great way to learn how to be good at sales, because humor does cut through the noise, especially in business to business. Like, people just need to lighten up, and it needs to be a little bit more fun than it is just super corporate structured. Like I said, we're not robots. So I think that's a really good approach, and you'll do really well with adding humor into your talk track, especially selling to salespeople, because we sell to salespeople too. So that's a really good approach. Is this long term for you? Like, what do you see yourself doing years down the road? Do you see yourself staying in sales, or is this really a launching pad to something bigger? What does that look like?
I'd like to say I'll stay in sales, but you never know what could happen. I want to be, I want to be an account executive by the time I'm 20, Past that, it's a little blurry. I like leadership, so I might go into leadership after that or start my own business, but I'm not really sure yet. I would still like to be doing sales though. At least that's what I think right now, but you never know what could happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. What would you say is your biggest motivator and your why behind doing all of this and getting started so early in your career?
Probably just making money. If as shallow as that might sound, just I mean, I like sales, and if I can make money from it, like that's fun. Like I like what I'm doing, so probably just making money right now, and I want to be able to support a family in the next couple of years when I get married and have kids. So having the ability to give them the safety and yeah, money brings that.
I love it. So putting your story out there, putting yourself out there, getting started, at this age, what's something that anything happened that was unexpected about putting your story out there publicly? And has that changed, how you set your story and then share your story in the future?
Mm, nothing too crazy. I guess it was a little surprising how much traction I get and how supportive everybody is from just like a kid who doesn't really know anything about sales, and they're just, giving me advice. They're super supportive. Like barely had any negative interactions on LinkedIn, which is really surprising for a social platform.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most positive social platform in the world by far.
Yeah.
There are some crazy animals out there, I will tell you. I ran across a few of them, but there's only like 9 or 10 nasty people in the world. They just move around a lot. That's what my mentor told me.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Yeah,
Kate,
yeah.
thank you so much. We're really excited to share your story, get it out there. We can't wait to see all the growth and what's to come. So we'll definitely be following along. Who's the best person that should reach out if they want advice, want to check you out? And is LinkedIn the best place for them to look for you?
Definitely LinkedIn. I'm there all the time. Anybody looking to break in, anybody. I wouldn't say if you're an SDR, ask me for advice, except for his LinkedIn stuff, because I've only been doing this for a month. But if you're trying to break in, I can help you. But short advice, just start posting on LinkedIn and connect with people. And if there are any senior leaders in revenue, sales, or marketing, I wouldn't be doing my job as an SDR if I wasn't asking. If you have any questions, come to me. I'll get you set up.
True SDR at heart. Obviously ending it with a pitch. That's so great. I'm so happy you did that. That's awesome. Hey man, I think Lexi, what do you think about doing like a part 2 to this in a year, right? We can see where Kate ends up and where he is. I bet he's gonna be an AE before 20. That's my bet, but we'll see. But Kate, man, you are awesome. We're so excited to have you a part of our community and so excited for you to be doing what you're doing. And we're gonna be watching you from afar and rooting you on. And if you ever need anything from us, we'll be your biggest fan along the way, man. Congratulations on your success and good luck.
Thank you so much. I had a pleasure to be on here.